the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
And I don't have the stat in front of me, but it'd been a while since Oklahoma had done that. And Tennessee had their chances, 2 turnovers inside the Oklahoma 30 in the first half. Like, they moved the ball at will in the first half. They left a lot of points on the board. Bad sack turns into a touchdown return for the Sooners.
So the dude got hurt on that play?
Yes,
where he's
it was
like
a Greg Jennings. Like, Greg Jennings.
Put the team on his back, though.
Yeah, put the team. I mean, that's really what happened there. So, it was. The first half was a bad omen for what was to come, because Tennessee, racked up, I think, nearly 300 yards in that first half and just had nothing to show for it. Just costly turnovers, and it was just kind of a mess, because Tennessee should have been up. The game should have been over in the first half with how Tennessee was moving and how Tennessee's defense was playing in that first half. Tennessee's defense had its best half of football all conference play against the Sooners here, and crowd was rocking. You had Johnny Knoxville there, Leanne Morgan Wallen, Peyton Manning, Tony Vitello made his return. Like, it was introducing Josh Elanders, the new coach. Like, it was rocking.
So this might be a really dumb question. I'm literally putting this together in my head for the first time. Just right here. Is Johnny Knoxville a Tennessee guy?
Yeah. He went to
he's always been a
what
Tennessee
is now
fan?
South Doyle High School. Yeah, he's from Knoxville.
I've never even. Yeah, makes perfect sense. I don't know. I just hear his name. I didn't associate his name with Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know what it is. Doesn't make sense. It's stupid. But yeah. I didn't know he was like a big Tennessee fan, but obviously that makes perfect sense.
It's a tough scene over here for Matt Green.
There's someone out there that's having the same realization I am. Believe it.
I hope not,
there's something.
It's in the name.
No, it's true. There's something. I literally had this conversation with my brother like earlier this week. Sometimes I hear some people's names as like full names, and it doesn't register to me that they have the same last name. Like, we were having this conversation with John Stockton and Gunnar Stockton, and like it just didn't. I said something like, because long story short, someone was disrespecting John Stockton, and I was just like, people act like Stockton is Bob Cousy, and my brother's like, I thought you're comparing Gunnar Stockton to Bob Cousy. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So I don't know. I had this conversation. So like, I didn't register those guys had the same name. I feel like people disrespect John Stockton. Like, he played a long time ago. That was the point of what I was saying. But he's like, this dude played in the 90s, you know? But yeah, him and Gunnar have the same last name, for those of you who never actually thought about that. But yeah, so I don't know what it is. Johnny Knoxville, I just hear his whole name. It doesn't occur to me it's Knoxville, Tennessee. We can get back on track here.
Wow.
So, good time environment. Let's go. I derailed the show here. Oklahoma, Tennessee.
That was wild. You found a way back, Matt Green, which we appreciate. But yes, Tennessee, if you had told me before this game, Tennessee would go 7 of 13 on third downs, out first down Oklahoma 28-19, only have 3 penalties for 25 yards, and then throw for nearly 400 and end with 456 total yards, 3 sacks, 3 TFLs, I would have been like, oh yeah, Tennessee obviously won that football game. And Tennessee did not win this football game. Tennessee went in the half down 16-10. This game was just, I would say, the most frustrating game for the Vols in a myriad of ways. Tennessee really struggled to run the football in this one. Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, Star Thomas all couldn't. 4 sacks for Oklahoma in this game, 8 TFLs. You got to give credit to Oklahoma's front 7. They were swarming, and they whipped Tennessee's offensive line. And that was a surprise to me, because I thought Tennessee would win on the line of scrimmage on both sides, and they did not. And John Mateer used his legs a lot, 16 carries, 80 yards, especially in the second half. Oklahoma's offense got a lot more comfortable in the second half. But, Tennessee did some things well. The receivers, Braylon and Chris, and Ethan Davis had his best game as a Vol. The tight end spot, Mike had 3 receptions for 76 yards and a TD. But, Staley and Mike had 3 combined touchdowns. They were averaging 13.6 yards per completion. The downfield shots were there, but the turnovers that we had not seen from Aguilar all season they really reared their ugly head here with two interceptions, one sack, fumble that wasn't his fault. But yeah, it was a tough game all across the board, and it was just a game that you felt really gross leaving because you're just I'm curious what you thought, because I came away from this game not being impressed with Oklahoma. I thought Tennessee did everything to not win this football game. I don't think Oklahoma's offense is very good. I don't think they run the football really well. They don't have a lot of receivers that can really scare you. Santana is solid, but Burks doesn't really do anything. Deion Burks, I don't think he's a guy, but Santana, he's solid, but not a lot of juice, I think, on that Oklahoma offense. And the defense has some dudes for sure, but I didn't come away with that game being like, oh man, Oklahoma's a college football playoff team and they're complete, this, that, and the other. Tennessee just did a lot of really dumb stuff. I mean, obviously they missed a field goal, but I think Max has been great. And I mean, he's been extremely accurate over the course of his Tennessee career. And I don't like folks getting all over Max in this game because he was 2 of 3 in this one. He had a 45 and a 48. Yeah, he missed a 37, but Max Gilbert's still a good kicker. But the other kicker too was a big part of this, is like multiple 50-yard bombs from this kicker. So he had a 55, 51, 55 from Tate Sandell in this football game, which is just crazy. And Heupel did some game management stuff that I did not agree with, running down the clock, going to the 2-minute mark here in the fourth quarter. He still has a lot to get better at when it comes to game management, clock management, stuff like that. But he declined a penalty that would have pushed Oklahoma back early in that first half to 3rd and 17, and instead took the penalty, and they proceeded to drill a 50-plus yard field goal. So you basically just gave him 3 points because you didn't trust your defense to get a stop on 3rd and 17, even though the defense is doing pretty well. But yeah, I mean, it's just the sky's not falling with Tennessee, but it was a depressing loss. It eliminates Tennessee from the college football playoff contention. And now you kind of wonder, you have a bye this week, then you have New Mexico State at home, but how they respond, because you still got to go to Florida, and you still got Vanderbilt at home, and you might be able to play spoiler and keep Vanderbilt out of the college football playoff. You can get up for it. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of a depressing game all around, and really, really frustrating because Tennessee, they just don't play complementary football well. They do some things really well some games, and they do some things horrifically, and they can never just put it all together. They never can do all 3 phases at an elite level at the same time. And look, I think Tennessee's good. I think they're somewhere in the 15 to 20 range in the country right now. The offense can keep them in any game with anybody, with just how quickly they can score at will. But yeah, it's a frustrating time right now, Matt Green. But what about you? What'd you take away from this game?
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with you. I mean, Oklahoma obviously ran the ball really well in this game. I feel like if you could have added Aguilar to what Tennessee has been the last 2 years, it's like I think he's an upgrade from Joe Milton and from 2024 Nico. And so it's like that Tennessee team could have been a contender, but it feels like Aguilar is just kind of having to rely too much on him to make all the plays. And you're seeing this is a good quarterback, but it's kind of like my comparison of Arian Smith to Adam Duvall a year ago. It's like the fact that you're having to rely on Arian Smith this much isn't Arian Smith's fault. Like it's your fault that you couldn't have gotten someone better than Arian Smith. So it's like Adam Duvall is what he is. You know, he's not an everyday player. And Aguilar, if you're going to rely on him to throw the ball 40 times, you know, and things like that, he's going to throw a couple picks. Like he's going to throw some touchdowns, but he's going to throw some picks too. Oklahoma definitely made some plays in this one. I think the reason why like this one feels different from a Tennessee perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think many people were expecting this loss. Like it was we lost to Alabama, we lost to Georgia, and it's also but we lost to Georgia. Like we had a 38-yard field goal, or was 42-yard field goal, we beat Georgia in regulation. So and then obviously going to the Swamp was like another one you just felt worried about. So it feels like the Oklahoma one was just kind of blindsided. Now that Tennessee fans didn't respect this big time national, like 7:30 Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler type game. Like, this is a huge game. Tennessee fans knew they could lose, but I don't feel like you guys were ever like truly expecting a loss in this one.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the Georgia game changed all expectations for the year because I think a lot of fans would have been okay 8-4, 9-3 before the Georgia game based on the circumstances with Nico and everything else. But because you should have beaten Georgia, and if you play that game 100 times over, Tennessee wins that game 98 times, and you blew it late.
Whoa, 98 times? What are we talking
Yeah,
here?
Gunner's not making that throw and that throw and catch to London Humphreys.
Well, the game doesn't play out exactly the same all 98 times. I don't know. Maybe you win at 55.
Max Gilbert makes that
generous.
kick 90 plus times. Like
that's yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, makes that kick more. Yeah, more than 90 times out of 100 for sure.
Yeah, and that's my point. Is it just a lot of bad things happen that are pretty? It's just the broader point is you had Georgia, you should have beaten Georgia. You were the better team that day, and you blew it at home, and it was just painful. But it also made you think you could hang with anybody. Like it put you in that. Oh, we're a lot better than we anticipated coming into the year, and then that just raised everybody's opinion and projection for what the Vols could be in 2025. When before the year, you could have told us that, hey, if you lost to Oklahoma, Florida, and Bama and Georgia, 8-4, fun offense, top 10-ish in scoring. And then you get to next year where you have Faison and George and a little bit older and Sanders a year older. You get Tristan Keys in here and you're, like you get to turn the page. Like the Nico thing kind of gave you a mulligan because you lost your starting quarterback in late April and crazy circumstances. So the Georgia game, I feel like, changed everything.
So does the mulligan no longer exist?
I think it should, but I think there were some fans who were really upset with Heupel over the weekend, especially that night. And I think Heupel has done a very good job. I think Heupel is a good coach. I think Heupel still has room to grow, but I do think Heupel will have to make some sort of, how can I explain this? I think he's going to have to make some sort of, how like Kirby made the quick, like James Coley, good recruiter. I like having him on my staff, but he just can't be the play caller. I have to make sometimes tough decisions, like I have to kind of move some stuff around and I'm going to go take a shot at Todd Monken. I don't know how it's going to work. It's very different than my style that I'm comfortable with. Like Nick Saban went out and got Lane Kiffin, and that was like kind of outside the box where it was like, oh, you're really going to drastically change how Alabama's offense works. And Saban took an outside the box risk. And I think Heupel, especially defensively, because what's interesting to me, this cycle in particular, is there's so much elite defensive coordinator talent that I just kind of wonder, it's like, because you're spending so much on the roster, because you're bringing in a redshirt freshman or you're bringing back a redshirt freshman to compete with a true freshman for the starting quarterback job, and you've invested so much money in this program that like, hey, if you have an opportunity to upgrade potentially, like you just kind of reach out and see, like, I mean, you have Blake Baker, who's going to be available from LSU. You have Jim Knowles from Penn State, and you have a lot of big fish who would not traditionally be out there. And it's like, I think Tim Banks is fine. I think he's a good defensive coordinator. He's somewhere in the top 20 in the country. But if you think you can upgrade to get a top 5, I think that's a change you have to really, really consider because you're close. I think Tennessee is close to getting over that final hump because I think they're a really good program right now on solid footing. But I do think he cannot run it back like what the Braves are doing with Walt Weiss, Matt Green. You gotta have to shake things up a little bit. It doesn't mean it's all bad, but you do need to make an adjustment or two this offseason. Like, I don't think Heupel, I think it would be a mistake on his end and a misunderstanding of where people are at if he runs it back as is. Because Heupel's never fired anybody. And it's like one of those things where I don't think you have to change everything. Like, you're doing a lot well, but you do have to make you have to tinker a little bit because this year has just been all over the place. The defense has been horrific at times. There are certain things that just have been so bad that like you got to kind of fix some stuff. You got to get like you're going into year 6.
The defense was really good a year ago.
You what?
The defense was really good a year ago, though.
For sure. In some ways, yeah. But it's fallen off. And my point is like, if you can't get a top 5 guy, then you keep rolling with Banks and you're fine. But like, if you think you can, you always have to explore that, because this is just, I feel like this year is like, we're not going to have this much coaching movement next year. I don't think. I just feel like this year in particular, there's a lot of open, big, elite names that Tennessee has the money to go get potentially, that I think you have to explore. If you want to be a national championship program, I think this staff needs to be beefed up just a little bit. That's my thing. And I don't know if they'll do it, but we'll see.
Well, this is, I think, a potentially two-part question. So one of my preseason predictions was that Heupel was going to be the coach under like the most pressure, like nationally in 2026. And definitely with some of the guys that already been fired, like Franklin and Kelly, like they're kind of off the board now, Napier, Pittman, those kind of guys. Do you think that's accurate in 2026? Not necessarily that like going to get fired, but like Kirby Smart was like a guy who was doing really well, but was like under a lot of pressure pre-national championship. Like, would that, like, who's under more pressure in college football if not Josh Heupel going into 2026?
I mean, he shouldn't. Here's the problem. Heupel is going to go into next year. I think if you put the hot seat on him next year, it's very stupid. 2027, yes. I think 2027 is the year. And I've penciled that in, where I think Tennessee in 2027 will have their roster, if they retain correctly and develop correctly, they're going to be top 10-ish in blue chip ratio going into the year. And a lot of dudes who are older, like a lot of dudes. And George might be in year 3. Faison might be in year 2. Sanders in year 3. Tristan Keys in year 2. Like a lot of key guys will be older, and a lot of your key blue chip guys the nucleus of this team will be older, and older teams win titles and win big time games. So for me, like, look at Vanderbilt. One of the biggest reasons Vanderbilt is so good this year is like 40% of the roster is 22-year-olds. Like it's not like a diss or anything. It's just the reality. Like that helps being older. And NBA, guess what? Old teams win, young teams lose. It's very, very simple. Like the young teams in the NBA.
Did OKC just win it all?
They had bets. I'm talking no. I'm talking about rookies and early, like 2 to 3 years in. Like those, Shea has been in the league for a while. But anyway, that's not what I'm saying. And you look at where Tennessee's gonna be. I think Tennessee's a 7-5, 8-4 team next year, because look around the SEC, Matt Green. If you're going to start a true freshman or a redshirt freshman quarterback, who in this conference is winning at that level with a young quarterback? It's not happening. Like, it's really hard. Like, you're seeing how long it's taking Arch to get comfortable. You look at the top of this conference. Gunner is an older quarterback. Ty Simpson's an older quarterback. You look at the top of this group. I mean, John Mateer, older quarterback. I just kind of look at the top of this conference right now. And before the year, I mean, Mizzou, you had Bo Perbula. Like, you just kind of, I think the expectation next year should be the offense should still be pretty good. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss, he's a grad transfer from
Marcel Reed's been around for a few years.
Reed, like, it's just, I want to Diego Pavia, who we haven't really talked about, like that. Like, those are all mostly older quarterbacks. Taylon Green, who's had a bunch of success at Arkansas, older quarterback. I just worry about the wins and losses conversation when it comes to Tennessee next year, because if you're going to roll with a freshman or a true redshirt freshman quarterback, you're going to have to accept that you're not contending next year, and you're going to be
conference games.
And the schedule's a lot harder. Like, you're 8-4 is a great year next year, I think, for Tennessee, if they can get there with a young quarterback situation. But I don't know how people will take it.
But how does that the part 2, I guess, is like, what does it take for Heupel like to truly be on the hot seat? Like, if they split Florida and Vandy, and this is an 8-4 team, what if they lost to both Florida and Vanderbilt? This team goes 7-5.
I don't think hot seat. I think it'd be like warm. It'd be toastier, I guess. It'd be like, hey, like, what the heck happened? Because that means they probably checked out. Like, if you lose to Florida and Vanderbilt down the stretch, you probably checked out.
You would have lost 4 of 6 down the stretch, and the only wins over Kentucky and New Mexico State. I just wonder. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's crazy that you just even said that sentence you said a few minutes ago, that Tennessee could spoil Vanderbilt's college football playoff hopes. I don't know what universe we're living in right now, but yeah, it's wild.
Well, Matt Green,
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.